part is you don't know what it's like until you are attacked. Yeah. And that's part of the reason I would like some of the men from Silicon Valley.
Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa...
Like, it was Facebook.
No, I mean, primarily Facebook, but, I would say for 6 years, these are stats.
The Nobel Prize winner has ignited a global conversation and sent the internet into a frenzy after delivering an emotional and powerful tribute to Eala that resonated far beyond the world of sports, creating a wave of pride that swept across Filipino communities from Manila to New York and everywhere in between, because this was never just about tennis or rankings or trophies. This was about representation, identity, perseverance. And the undeniable rise of two Filipino women who conquered their respective arenas against extraordinary odds and who now stand symbolically connected in a moment that feels historic in scope and significance. Maria Ressa, internationally respected for her fearless defense of truth and democracy and honored with the Nobel Peace Prize for her courage under pressure, publicly expressed her admiration for Eala in words that immediately captured attention, declaring that Alex is making the Philippines shine brightly on the world stage. And that single statement carried emotional weight far deeper than a standard congratulatory remark, because it came from someone who understands what it means to carry the expectations of an entire nation while standing under relentless global scrutiny. Social media timelines filled instantly, group chats buzzed nonstop, and Filipino supporters across continents shared the message with pride because they recognized that this was more than praise from a public figure. It was validation from one national icon to another. It was one battle-tested warrior recognizing the strength and promise of a rising champion who is carving her own place in history. Maria Ressa did not frame Eala as simply a talented young athlete climbing the rankings and collecting titles. She described her as a symbol of Filipino excellence competing on one of the most demanding global stages imaginable. And that distinction matters because tennis at the professional level is not merely a sport, but a relentless international proving ground dominated for decades by countries with vast infrastructure, funding, and elite development systems. Making Alex's rise from a nation without that same ecosystem all the more remarkable and meaningful. Every time Alex steps onto the court and grips her racket, she's not only competing for herself or chasing prize money or personal milestones. She's carrying the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of millions who see themselves reflected in her journey. And she embodies a spirit of resilience and determination that defines the Filipino identity, proving through performance that talent recognizes no geographic limitation, and that excellence can emerge from anywhere when fueled by discipline and belief. The timing of Ressa's tribute amplified its impact, because Eala is currently experiencing one of the most extraordinary phases of her career, having recently climbed to a career-high world ranking of number 45 in the Women's Tennis Association standings, officially becoming the highest-ranked Filipino player in WTA history. And that milestone alone represents decades of barriers broken and expectations rewritten. Yet what makes it even more compelling is that her trajectory shows no sign of slowing, suggesting that the chapter unfolding now may only be the beginning of an even greater ascent. This achievement did not materialize overnight, and it was not the result of luck or a temporary surge in form. It was built on years of sacrifice, including training overseas far from family, adapting to new cultures and competitive systems, battling injuries that threatened momentum, enduring losses that tested confidence, and repeatedly choosing growth over comfort, discipline over doubt, and perseverance over frustration. Alex did not wait for history to invite her politely. She stepped forward and claimed her place with authority, signaling to the global tennis establishment that she was no longer just a promising junior prospect or a future possibility, but a present force ready to compete with the elite. And her breakthrough WTA 125 title in Guadalajara marked a turning point when commentators and analysts recalibrated their expectations after witnessing her composure, athleticism, and strategic intelligence against seasoned opponents. That performance was followed by appearances on major stages including the US Open, where Filipino flags were visible in the stands and viewers across continents tuned in not only to watch a match, but to witness representation in action, because it was about presence and arrival, and about demonstrating that the Philippines belongs within conversations historically dominated by traditional tennis powerhouses. As the new season began, she approached each tournament with visible confidence, battling through demanding qualification rounds in Abu Dhabi, where she defeated opponents considered more experienced and higher ranked, then returning home to compete in front of passionate local supporters at the Philippine Women's Open, where expectations weighed heavily yet she carried herself with composure. And then continuing forward into international events, with a growing aura of legitimacy that signaled she was not simply participating but contending. The pressure surrounding her ascent has intensified dramatically, because when a trailblazer breaks barriers, scrutiny inevitably follows. Critics analyze every performance, skeptics anticipate setbacks, and online commentary magnifies both praise and criticism, creating an environment that can test even the most seasoned professionals. It is within this context that Maria Ressa's words gain extraordinary depth because she understands scrutiny at a level few can comprehend. Having faced legal challenges, harassment, and persistent attempts to discredit her work while standing firm in defense of truth, and her recognition of Alex was not superficial encouragement but mentorship rooted in lived experience, reportedly centered on the concept of playing the long game, of protecting integrity, of maintaining clarity of purpose amid noise, and of understanding that as visibility increases, so too does opposition. She cautioned that criticism will grow louder, that misinformation and manufactured controversies may surface, that distractions will multiply, but that focus must remain anchored to performance and principle, because in the end, consistency and authenticity outlast temporary storms. Representation stands at the heart of this connection, because when Alex steps onto a court in Doha or Paris or New York, she is not alone in symbolic terms. She represents every young Filipino who has ever been told their dreams were unrealistic or their background insufficient. And she challenges outdated narratives by demonstrating through measurable achievement that dedication and courage can overcome structural disadvantages. Maria Ressa recognizes that dynamic intimately because when she advocated for press freedom, she too represented more than herself, embodying the insistence that Filipino voices deserve to be heard and respected on the global stage, and that shared experience of carrying collective expectation forms a powerful bridge between journalism and sport. The professional tennis circuit is an unforgiving environment characterized by constant travel, isolation, physical strain, and ranking volatility, where a single injury can erase months of progress and a brief slump can trigger doubt, making mental resilience as critical as technical skill. And having guidance from someone who has navigated intense public battles provides perspective that can stabilize ambition and transform pressure into fuel rather than fear. Those close to their exchange suggest that Alex responded not with hesitation but with resolve, embracing the responsibility rather than shrinking from it, committing to compete not merely for titles but to inspire, understanding that each appearance on court can serve as a testament to possibility for young athletes watching from communities that once felt distant from the global tennis conversation. This moment symbolizes continuity between generations of Filipino excellence, linking advocacy and athletics, truth and competition, principle and performance, and it reinforces the idea that national pride is not empty rhetoric but a catalyst that can power extraordinary achievement when channeled constructively. The Philippines is experiencing a remarkable era in sports with athletes in weightlifting, gymnastics, boxing, and basketball redefining expectations. Yet tennis carries unique challenges because of its global infrastructure and historical concentration of resources in specific regions, which makes Alex's ascent particularly groundbreaking and emblematic of perseverance beyond systemic limitations. Each hard-fought match against higher-seeded opponents sends a message that determination can narrow gaps in funding and exposure, that preparation and belief can counterbalance structural disadvantage, and that belonging is earned through excellence rather than granted by geography. And Maria Ressa sees in Alex a kindred spirit because both have stood in arenas where the odds appeared daunting yet persisted with conviction. As history continues to unfold, Eala's journey remains in motion, but this exchange with a Nobel Laureate will likely stand as a defining milestone marking the point where athletic achievement intertwined unmistakably with cultural significance, illustrating how legends are shaped at the intersection of talent, timing, belief, and unwavering purpose. Maria Ressa has often reflected that one does not fully understand the weight of attack until personally experiencing it, that discomfort accompanies scrutiny, yet she also affirms that ultimately facts prevail, truth prevails, and justice prevails, and those principles extend metaphorically into any arena where integrity is tested, including sport, because in competition as in journalism, authenticity and resilience sustain long-term success. Eala continues to compete with the awareness that her journey transcends individual ambition, carrying pride without arrogance, ambition without compromise, and determination without surrender, proving through action that Filipino excellence belongs at the highest levels of global competition, and that when courage meets preparation, extraordinary chapters of history can be written in real time.